In the U.S. alone, over 275,000 people were deported in 2023. That's not just a number. That's hundreds of thousands of lives, families split, homes left behind, and yes, bank accounts, savings, and retirement funds just sitting there. What happens to that money? Most don't know until it's too late, when their life savings vanish into thin air. Whether you're here on a visa, awaiting permanent residency, or undocumented, your financial future hangs in the balance if deportation becomes your reality, and most people have no idea what actually happens to their savings. In this video, based on financial laws, immigration policies, and real-life cases, we're going to walk through exactly what happens to your money and what you can do to protect it. Let's be clear, deportation doesn't just tear families apart. It can shatter your financial foundation too. When immigration and customs enforcement comes knocking, your bank accounts don't automatically close, but they often freeze faster than you can make a withdrawal. And depending on your situation, they can become nearly impossible to access. If your account gets flagged for suspicious activity, like logging in from outside the U.S., some banks will freeze it, especially if the bank thinks there's fraud or if there's a government hold, like from ICE or the IRS. Now, not all accounts are treated the same. National banks like Chase or Bank of America usually have more red tape than local credit unions. And accounts like your 401k or IRA, those aren't usually touched right away, but accessing them from another country gets tricky. Then there's the tax side. If you've got foreign accounts back home and haven't reported them to the IRS using the FBAR, that's the Foreign Bank Account Report, you could be facing fines of up to $10,000. Take Carlos, a restaurant owner and legal resident, for 15 years. When paperwork issues led to unexpected deportation proceedings, his checking account was frozen within days. "I couldn't pay my employees or my rent," he told us. "Everything I built over 15 years was suddenly untouchable." What Carlos didn't know is that different accounts face different fates. While his business checking account was locked down, his retirement accounts remained accessible due to their special legal status under ERISA protections. But then came another blow. The $10,000 penalty for failing to report his accounts back home through the Foreign Bank Account Report. The Treasury Department doesn't publicize this much, but accounts flagged during deportation proceedings typically freeze within 48 hours of detention. And there's a stark difference in how banks handle these situations. Credit unions often provide more flexibility than national banks, which typically lock accounts immediately upon receiving federal notices. The timeline is brutal. First comes the freeze, then restricted access, and finally, if you don't act, potential asset forfeiture. And all this happens while you're dealing with the biggest crisis of your life. Now let's talk about what happens after deportation. What if you're gone? Can you still get your money? Technically, yes. But it's not that simple. Many U.S. banking apps and websites block logins from certain countries or require U.S. phone verification. So if you're suddenly in another country without your U.S. number, good luck logging on. Once you're outside U.S. borders, accessing your money becomes a whole new challenge. Just ask Maria, who thought her online banking would work the same from Mexico as it did from Chicago. "My bank detected the foreign IP address and locked me out completely," she explains. "When I called customer service, they wanted me to verify my identity by visiting a branch in person. How could I do that from Guadalajara?" Some people get around this by setting up power of attorney, basically giving someone they trust the legal right to access their account. Without this, even your own family could be locked out. Maria was smart, though. Before her deportation hearing, she set up a limited power of attorney for her sister. This legal document meant her sister could transfer Maria's savings to an account in Mexico, avoiding the 90-day freeze that happens when non-residents try to close accounts remotely. Here's what you need to know. Most major U.S. banks restrict digital access from foreign countries, especially if they detect unusual login patterns. Wire transfers typically work better than ACH for moving money internationally, but even these can be denied if your account has suspicious activity flags. Mobile banking apps with international access features can be lifesavers. Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo all offer varying degrees of international functionality. But these options only work if you set them up before deportation occurs. That's why digital banking is becoming a lifeline. Banks like Wise or Revolut are designed for cross-border transfers. Some people have turned to cryptocurrency as a borderless alternative, but be careful. This route comes with its own legal complications and extreme volatility risks. The safest approach is establishing clear, legal access methods before any immigration issues arise. This brings us to perhaps the most important question. How can you protect your money before problems start? Ahmed's story offers some powerful lessons. After 22 years in America, Ahmed worried his temporary protected status might change with shifting political winds. So, he created a revocable living trust and named his U.S. citizen daughter as successor trustee. When the worst happened and I was sent back to Sudan, Ahmed shares, my house and investment accounts stayed protected. My daughter managed everything legally while I rebuilt my life back home. The key to Ahmed's success? He didn't wait until the last minute. Last-ditch asset transfers often get reversed under fraudulent transfer laws, which assume you're trying to hide assets from creditors or the government. Joint accounts with trusted U.S. citizens or permanent residents offer another layer of protection, but choose your co-owner carefully. They'll have complete access to your money, so this requires absolute trust. Asset diversification matters too. Physical assets like cars or jewelry face different risks than bank accounts. Real estate can sometimes be managed remotely, but only with proper legal structures in place. Documentation becomes your best friend. Every account, every asset, every password should be cataloged somewhere secure that you can access from anywhere in the world. Without this paper trail, proving ownership from abroad becomes nearly impossible. So, what if the worst has already happened? You're deported. You've got money sitting in the U.S., but you can't touch it. What now? Roberto's case shows there are pathways to recovery, though they're neither quick nor cheap. After deportation, he discovered $28,000 locked in a bank account he couldn't access remotely. I felt sick thinking about losing my life savings, Roberto recalls. But then a friend connected me with an immigration financial specialist. By hiring professional help, Roberto compiled the necessary documentation, birth certificates, account statements, tax returns, to prove ownership. 5 months and $3,200 in legal fees later, he recovered his $28,000 in savings. The timeline for asset recovery typically runs 3 to 18 months, depending on your preparation level and bank policies. Success rates vary dramatically based on documentation quality and access to legal help. Remote legal representation is possible, but finding attorneys who specialize in cross-border financial recovery is challenging. Organizations like the American Immigration Lawyers Association can provide referrals to experts who handle these specific cases. The harsh reality? Without proper preparation, recovery success rates drop below 40%. With the right documents and professional help, that number jumps to over 85%, but at a cost ranging from $2,000 to $15,000, depending on complexity. Sophia's story brings together everything we've covered. After 18 years as a lawful resident, a paperwork error during a routine green card renewal spiraled into deportation proceedings. Unlike most people facing this nightmare, Sophia had prepared. She'd watched a video like this one years earlier and taken action. She established a joint account with her adult son, created a limited power of attorney, and meticulously documented all her assets. I never thought it would happen to me, Sophia tells us, her voice breaking. But when it did, I was ready. While she still faced the heartbreak of deportation, she accessed 94% of her savings from abroad and is rebuilding her life. Her neighbor Juan wasn't so fortunate. He lost access to nearly 70% of his assets due to lack of preparation. Immigration financial specialist Layla Washington sees these contrasting outcomes daily. The difference between keeping your money and losing everything often comes down to what you do before deportation occurs, she explains. Once you're outside the country, your options shrink dramatically. The stark reality is that deportation creates massive financial challenges, but proper preparation can protect most of your assets. Remember the key steps: establish legal access methods through trusted individuals, document everything, diversify your assets, and create contingency plans. While the topic is difficult, the message is hopeful. You can maintain financial stability even through immigration crises if you take action early. The earlier you plan, the more options you'll have. Don't wait until you're in proceedings to protect what you've worked so hard to build. Your money matters. Make sure it stays in your hands. Have you or someone you know faced financial challenges during immigration issues? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your story could help others avoid financial disaster. Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss our next video. And remember, in today's uncertain world, preparation isn't paranoia, it's protection.